We asked people on the street, what happens if the moon disappears? The answers were confident. One guy said it would get darker at night. A woman said there would be less romance. A third person thought for a second and added, well, werewolves would calm down. Everyone laughed. Everyone was sure. And everyone was wrong in a way they cannot even begin to imagine. Because the moon is not a nightlight hanging in the sky. The moon is what keeps your life in balance right now. And you had no idea. Let's start with the oceans, because this is where the first confident answer falls apart the fastest. Tides are the moon. More precisely, they are the moon's gravity literally pulling the water of the oceans towards itself, creating two massive water bulges on opposite sides of the Earth. The Earth rotates, the bulges stay in place, and coastlines are covered and uncovered by water every 6 hours, every day, for billions of years. And over those billions of years, every living thing in the ocean built its entire existence around that rhythm. Crabs reproduce on a tidal calendar. Corals release their eggs in sync with the lunar cycle. Plankton rises and falls with the tides. If the moon disappears, tides do not just weaken, they almost completely vanish. What remains are tiny solar tides, several times weaker than what we have now. Coastal ecosystems that have existed for millions of years collapse, not over centuries, over months. The first answer from our street survey, the one about darkness, already looks naive. But that was only the beginning. If you want to know what comes next, subscribe, because it gets worse. The second blow lands on the Earth's axis, and this is where most people have no idea there is even a connection. The Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees relative to the plane of its orbit. That tilt is what gives us seasons. In summer, the northern hemisphere faces the sun, and it is warm. In winter, it faces away, and it is cold. Simple, familiar, taken for granted. But here is the question. What keeps that tilt stable? The moon. The moon's gravity acts like a gyroscope, stabilizing Earth's axis, preventing it from wobbling chaotically through space. Without the moon, Earth's axis will start to drift. Not immediately. The process takes thousands of years. But the direction and speed of that drift are unpredictable. The axis could shift by 10 degrees, it could shift by 40, it could go all the way to 85 degrees, leaving Earth lying on its side like Uranus. At that tilt, the poles would point directly at the sun for half the year. One half of the planet would bake for 6 months, while the other half freezes. Seasons as we know them would disappear. Climate zones would scramble. The agriculture that humanity spent 10,000 years building around a stable climate would stop working. The second answer from the survey is gone. Romance has dropped very low on the list of concerns. But physics is not finished yet. The third blow hits time itself, literally the length of a day. The moon is slowing down Earth's rotation. That sounds strange, but it is a fact. The gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon gradually breaks our planet. Because of that breaking, a day is currently 24 hours long. A billion years ago, when the moon was closer and its pull was stronger, a day lasted around 18 hours. If the moon disappears, the brakes are gone. Earth will not speed up instantly, but gradually over millions of years, it will begin to spin faster. Days will get shorter, first by minutes, then by hours. Given enough time, a day could last 6 or 8 hours. Faster rotation means stronger winds.
Atmospheric currents accelerate. Weather systems become more powerful and less predictable. Hurricanes that today feel like a catastrophe become the baseline. The third blow has landed. Time itself is broken. Let's go back to our street survey. Darker at night. Yes, that will happen too, but it is the last thing worth worrying about. Less romance? Certainly. When the climate is collapsing and the oceans are in chaos, romance moves down the priority list. Werewolves will calm down? Possibly the only accurate observation of the three. Nobody mentioned tides. Nobody mentioned the Earth's axis. Nobody brought up the length of a day. Because the moon is so deeply built into the foundation of this planet that we stopped noticing it. It does not just hang in the sky. It keeps the oceans in rhythm, the axis in balance, and time in order. Every second. While you are watching this video. And that is exactly why the most obvious questions have the most unexpected answers. The next video is another one of those questions. Hit like if your answer from the survey turned out to be wrong.